this is Cheri at djsundry.blogspot.com, and I have yet another birthday card to give, share with you today. So let's get started. Today I'm not pulling out my Cricut at all. We're going to be doing things with spellbinders and with this Martha Stewart butterfly punch, and we're just going to go from there. So the first thing that I used was the classic scalloped ovals large, and I used the largest 3 sizes, and I'm going to be doing some layering. The paper that I chose is this from What's Up from Basic Gray, which is an older pack, I believe. I'm not sure. I've had it for at least since I think last summer, and I don't know when it came out. But it's a really fun pack. It's got corals and aquas and lavenders and reds, and they all just kind of go together. So from that, I chose several different pages. I chose this kind of almost a flowery print and this stripe here, and I chose this coral color and this aqua color. Now all I did with the aqua was cut out some butterflies. So I pulled out from Paper Tray Ink, I pulled out my vintage cream cardstock, and I cut a piece of 8.5 by 11 paper at 5.5 inches. So now I have an 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece, and I scored it at 4 1/4 and folded it over, so I have a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card. So then I have my first layer here, which is from that Basic Gray pack, and this is the stripe, and I cut that at 5 1/4 inches tall by 4 inches wide. So I have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around to play with. So the first thing that I want to do is I plan to kind of layer some elements together, and I'm just going to roughly layer them so I can kind of get an idea. This is going to be kind of a vintagey, pretty card. You probably could even use these colors together for a masculine card, but I'm actually doing a feminine card. And I think what I'm going to do is just right in the middle is where I'm going to place my bows. So from 3 Girl Jam, I got the coral reef, or just the coral thread or ribbon, as well as an Aqua Splash ribbon. And I have a piece here from Aqua Splash that when I opened up my reel, it was already open. So it had already been cut. It's just the piece must have been left over from another project. When I tried putting my Aqua Splash on by itself, it just didn't stand out enough, and I thought, well, this would kind of tie in those colors all together. So what I want to do is I want to just bring that around from the back to the front, and I'm going to kind of settle it on so that I'm going to put my bow on the side over here, and I have both colors going on, so it'll be kind of a double bow, and we'll separate that out in a minute. And I probably cut this a little bit short, but I think I can make it work. I should have maybe gone ahead and cut new pieces. Now this is kind of a messy bow, and that's okay. That's kind of what I'm going for here, because the tails are going to be really short, and it's going to be on its side, but that way we have all the colors, and I can kind of separate this out just a tad. And I'm even going to trim out these really so that they're very, very short. And then we have just different colors going on there. So now I'm ready to adhere my card base, and that's the reason why I needed to tie the bow first. This is just a really simple card, and I am using my spellbinders, and I'm not concerned about the bulk of this card, because it's not a card that I'm mailing. So I'll probably add even more dimension than what I would normally add, starting of course with that double bow, but I'll probably put some of my layers, at least one of them, on foam tape. So there is our first section of the card all ready to go. Now before I go any further, I want to stamp my sentiment. So I pulled this happy birthday stamp, and I'm not sure where it came from, but it's kind of a feminine script. And I'm going to be using my Ranger Archival Black ink to do that. And I'm just going to ink up my stamp really well. And we're just going to stamp right in the middle. Happy birthday. Perfect. I really like the crispness of that black, which is why I chose to go with it on this particular card. I had enough colors going on as it was. So now let's start layering our pieces together. I think what I want to do to start with is I'm going to layer my print piece to my solid coral piece. And that's going to be the first step. And if I'm off camera there, I apologize. There's the first one. And that is going to go right over the top of our bow, kind of off the edge, just a tad, just like that. And just go right over the top, just like that. So there's the first part. And this one is going to go here. But I think what I want to do is on this one, I want to use some dimension. Let's just add just that extra little bit of interest by popping those up. I think this one I'll cut in half and put one there and one there. Now it's kind of hard to believe, but this card is actually already almost done. And that is going to go right, I have to stand it up to make sure I'm getting it straight. There we go. And that just adds a little bit of extra dimension. Now what I want to do is I took my Martha Stewart punch and I punched out several different butterflies. I used the 3 different papers. I used the stripe, the solid blue, which I didn't use in the card, but which kind of ties the whole card together, and then the coral, and I made these butterflies. So to make them, what I want to do is I'm going to actually glue some of these pieces together. I'm going to start by going with just a dot of glue in the middle, and I use my Tombow there, but I think I'm going to end up changing and using my quick dry in a minute. I'm going to pick this up, I know that's off camera, and I'm just going to glue those together. Now these are exactly the same size, and I'm aware of that, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to separate them out by just bending and twisting my butterfly wings, because the glue is only in the middle, not on the whole butterfly, like that. And that'll just give it some extra dimension. And that one's going to go right near the top. Now again, I'm going to grab some quick dry here. Not pulled out my quick dry in a while. We'll put that right about there. Whoops. Sliding around. Just like that. And then we'll come down here, and I think rather than double layering some of these others, I'm just going to put them kind of around. Now I want to put this one down where it's in the blue, so we don't lose the detail there. And I think I'll take this multicolor one, and I know there's a rule of 3s here, but I'm just kind of putting them where I want them, I guess you could say. Put that one in the middle there, just down. So I do have 3 here. Don't want to really stand up. And let's see, I have one more here of the larger ones. Do I want to use it? I'll just see what it looks like. That kind of anchors that bottom corner. So we'll put that one right down here. Of coral color is such a pretty color. Just like that. So they're kind of raised and sticking around. Now I have 4, and I definitely don't want an odd or an even number. So let's move one more, maybe right. Right there. And then there's one last thing that I'm going to do just to add some sparkle and some interest on the outside of the card. But before I do, I think I want to do a couple of things on the inside of the card. You know me, I like to have the inside look pretty like the outside looks pretty. So I think I'm going to take have to decide. I know that I moved off camera here. I'm going to take this piece of stripe to coordinate in with the front. I'm going to begin by cutting off the very top because I don't need those butterflies. And then I think I'm going to cut this down to about 1 inch wide. And then we'll just make it fit however it fits. And that just adds just something fun on the inside of the card. Now, I still want plenty of room for my sentiment, or for my message, my handwritten message. So I think I'll just line it up on this one side. Just a little bit there. And then let's take the coral and cut another one at 1 inch. And cut off that end right there. Let's see, how will I finish? Just like that. Kind of just balance it out a little bit. I don't need a lot of room to write a message, just a little, just to say hello, happy birthday, hope you had a great day, that kind of thing, just like that. So they're just simple. We could go back, maybe I will. This says let's grab this stamp. It says, may this be your best year ever. Let's grab a block and put that on the inside too. That'll just kind of nestle down. In fact, part of it will end up being on the pink, and I think that'll be just fine. So let me get my archival black. See, sometimes it's just, you see my creative process and as it happens, instead of me having it all planned out ahead of time, like this time. Thought I had it all planned out, but it changed. I was going to stamp that in the pink, but I think I'll offset it here. And I got a little bit of the edges, but that's okay. Alrighty, so there we have that. Now the final touch that I want to do is grab some stickles. I think we'll go with the crystal stickles here. Just add some sparkle to our little butterflies. Just because it's a vintage looking card doesn't mean it needs to be boring, right? So we'll just add a little bit of detail to these butterfly wings and really make them shine and stand out. Not a lot, I don't want a lot of glitter on them. Just enough to, like I said, add a little detail. Now I store my stickles upside down. That's just how I store them, so that they are a little more free-flowing and just do a little bit nicer job with coming out. However, this one apparently is still clogged, which does sometimes happen. Does not take much. If I just put a you know, a blob of it down, and then use the little tip to just smoosh it around a bit. Just adds such a nice little touch to your final project. So there we go. There we have it. Happy birthday. May this be your best year ever. So thanks so much for stopping by today. And remember to take some time to enjoy the little things, whether it's happy butterflies or a happy birthday. Have a great day. Bye.